A blessed day to everyone. I am Alvin Fabella and welcome to Pathways of Hope. Today let's discuss Matthew 14 verses 22 to 36. In today's gospel, Jesus walks on water and Jesus calms the storm. This is the second story where Jesus shows power over nature. The first one was in Matthew 8. But in Matthew 8 there was a hanging question. In Matthew 8:27, the disciples asked, "What sort of man is this, whom even the winds and sea obey?" In today's gospel, this question will be answered. The gospel starts with Jesus going up the mountain. After doing so, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. When it was evening, he was there alone. Mountains have symbolic significance in the Bible. If you can recall, Moses got the Ten Commandments of God in the mountain. The transfiguration of the Lord happened also in the mountain. So in today's gospel, Jesus goes up to the mountain to pray. He prays before the storm arrives. And that is who God is. He is always ahead of us. Before the storm, the problems, the trials, before any concern arrives in our life, God is preparing something already. So the storm arrives on the fourth watch of the night. That's between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Maybe the apostles were surprised. And sometimes our problems, our troubles are like that also. We are caught off guarded. But the blessing of the storm is this, that in the midst of the storm, if we just look closely, we will see Jesus Christ. During the fourth watch of the night, he came towards them walking on the sea. That was quite impossible for a man to do. So they were afraid. They thought Jesus Christ was a ghost. But Jesus speaks before them and tells them, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." The verse says, "It is I." The Greek translation says, "Ego eimi." It means I am. It is the divine name of God. It is the same name that God says to Moses in Exodus 3:14. And then Peter asked Jesus Christ to invite him over. And Jesus says to him, "Come." And Peter shows his faith by stepping out of the boat. He steps out of the boat, steps on the water, and starts to walk. That is what happens to us when we look at Jesus Christ and we take his invitation. We're able to do incredible things. But after a couple of steps, Peter takes away his focus from Jesus and he looks at the wave. He panics. He starts to sink. At that point, again, he had two choices. He can swim back to the boat to join the other apostles, or he can choose to stay there and wait for Jesus. He chooses the latter. He stays there and cries out to God to save him. And Jesus comes, stretches his hand to Peter, saves him, and together they enter the boat again. And as they enter the boat, the wind and the seas calm down. Remember the unanswered question in Matthew 8? In the first calming of the storm, the disciples asked, "What sort of man is this, whom even the winds and the seas obey?" Well, the answer to that question is found in the gospel today. In verse 33, they all proclaim, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Let's relate this to your faith journey. Maybe somewhere along the way, Jesus invites you also. He tells you, "Come." And you took that leap of faith. You step out of the boat and you start walking on water. But as you approach Jesus Christ, you experience a storm, problems, trials, difficulties, and you start to sink. And at that point, you also have two choices. You can choose to swim back to where you came from, go back to your old ways. Maybe you're telling yourself Christianity is so difficult. I'm so afraid I cannot do this anymore. I'll just go back. Or you can choose what Peter chose. Stay there and cry out to Jesus Christ. And later on, you will see Jesus Christ with his hand stretched out to you, saving you. And this is the main point of our gospel. The gospel is telling us, God will always be there for you. So do not allow yourself to just sink deeper or to go back to your old ways. Just cry out to God and allow God to lift you up, to make you holier, to make you a better person. If these reflections bless you, why don't you like it and share it to all your friends? Help us to be a pathway of hope to others. God bless your week.